And what about you, Jenny? What sort of shaped your direction to leading with love in your approach to all that you do in life? Because I definitely see it in your approach to life.
I mean, I'm as animated as Elena was when she was, giving it to us there. Like, I was like, yes, it is simple. Like there's a simple formula of the institute or the environment, the organization looks after you, you look after them. Like, that is the simple form. It's hard to implement and live and breathe it. But yeah, I was nodding along. There's a unfortunate, unorthodox path to get me here with the playing experience I've had domestically and internationally, in the basketball world, and then coaching internationally. And I want to say that I was aware the whole way through, but I absolutely wasn't. I tried to behave like the men that were around me just so I could fit in. I used the language to be, the male coach, so I could get up the ladder and move in certain directions. And similar to you, Adam, it was the mentors or people that would just give a little nudge, or every so often leave the ladder down or pull me in a direction and kind of say, hey, why aren't you going for that? Try this out. And I saw a quote today that I was reading. It was on Twitter with Elizabeth Day, who does a podcast on how to fail. And I read her book, and she said, when sometimes people put me down, I just think, you know what? Some people don't like cheese. That's just their preference. I thought, it was a really simple one. It just caught me, made me laugh, and said how personal over the years I took things, and how I allowed them drag me down, change my direction, dampen my aspirations. And I was really lucky to have some allies and some really key people along the line that I probably wouldn't have called it love at the time, because I would have ring-fenced love to family. And that's, this is what it looks like. But when you said to me about coming on today, I thought, well, what is love? And one of the big things when they allowed me in the door as a basketballer into the football world in Westham was for us to understand what love meant to everybody. What journeys and paths they had traveled, what was their biography and beliefs and knowledge, so that we could understand without saying, coach-athlete relationship is really important, or relations are really important. Well, what have they experienced that allows us to see the world through their eyes momentarily, and then we can build a picture instead of lumping it all, or values on the wall that mean nothing. And as Elena said there, care goes up, conflict goes down, motivation goes up, trust, turnaround of staff goes down. There's winning ways that people have discovered. And I think if we just paused to ask how, and not feel like we're in a blame culture, or can't ask for help, or don't have those people that Adam had to support you and go, hey, you know how you're coming across? I go, oh, go on, tell me. Oh, right, okay. that has kind of shaped how I see things. So I'm very much around the kind of self-reflexive approach and position to get to that deep level of awareness in order for me to then engage and see and connect with people,
Brilliant. And Elena, in terms of, what's shaped you, I know we were talking about there can be those role model examples, but often it's maybe the examples where it hasn't always been as positive.
You remember my little comment on that when you asked me, what is your role model in this leading with love? And I say, okay, my previous boss was a very good one, and Sarah knows the person. But to be very honest with you, I have more wrong models in my past history. So, but I learned a lot from them. I learned what I don't want to become and how I don't want to behave. And that for me was a really big learning, because I realized sometimes that I found myself wanting to escape a position or a company. So putting myself on the shoes of my reporter, I say, how I don't want never to be in the position that someone escaped from me. And just having this thought and this reference on what I will never do helped me a lot to not be trapped on certain behaviors.
Thank you, Elena. And Adam, leaning into the question, is it easier for women leaders to lead with love? See, the question has been asked. I'm going to give it to Adam. There we go.
Yeah. So I know that I said when we were talking previously, Sarah, I said that my instant gut reaction was yes. And it was based on my own difficulties, as you say, Elena, and Jen, as you say, of this classic masculine role, especially in the corporate business arena. The amount of times 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I would hear leaders say things like, the problem is he or she cares too much. Like, that was any sort of show of emotion was seen as a negative. But then I instantly thought, leading again to Jen and Elena, points that you've both made, all of the businesses that I remember back then were built on that male qualities, those qualities of not showing emotion. And what you would see is that a lot of the female leaders in those positions of power were aping those fake male qualities that we see. So then I said no, and then I was in an absolute quandary for basically the rest of the day, going back and forth and back and forth. What was interesting is I asked a couple of female leaders that I've worked with, and each and every one of them said no, but it's getting easier. And I think that was what gave me hope, is that I think we are seeing a shift. And I think a huge thing, Elena, you said it when you were talking about your work at Mars, and I loved it. You said, I've now got some data to back it up. And I think we're starting to see an avalanche of data, because it's been there forever, but there's more and more power behind it, and more examples of people that are doing amazing jobs leading with love in almost every walk of life, sport, business, politics. You can think of them more often now than ever before. And I think that's what's going to shift the paradigm all the way to it not being a male and female thing, but it actually being a good leader versus an old bad leader, old school bad leader. This isn't an ageist get together. Yeah, so I think, again, I'm hopeful, but yeah, I also fully agree that we have still a long journey to go, and we've got to keep pushing those messages.